Okay, welcome back. We're ready to start with our next set of witnesses. With us in the room from Empower Me, we have Yasmin and Karim Abraham. I'm going to assume you're related in some way.
You assume correctly?
Yeah, I'm very intuitive. That's why I'm the chair. And on video conference, hopefully you can hear us and see us.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thumbs up. That's good. From British Columbia Advanced Conservation and Efficiency Association with David Craig and Len Horvath. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. The process is each group will be given up to 10 minutes to deliver remarks, and then you will open the floor to questions. Now, we do have a PowerPoint, I understand, from our video conference group, which is in English only. It will be translated subsequently. It wasn't, we didn't have sufficient time in advance to do that for today. We'll proceed on that basis unless there's any objection from anybody around the table. Seeing none, okay, great. So why don't we start with Empower Me?
Great, thank you. So good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members, and thank you for inviting us to speak before you today on a topic that we share a great passion for. My name is Karim Abraham. I'm the CEO of the Cambo Energy Group. Here with me is my sister, Yasmin Abraham, and our Senior Vice President of Business Development. Before we begin our testimony today, we'd like to acknowledge the Algonquin Nation, whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Today we'll discuss our experience and learnings when designing and implementing energy efficiency programs in Indigenous communities and underserved populations. We will provide 2 recommendations to maximize the efficacy and equity of programs across Canadian demographics. The Cambo Energy Group is a family-owned social enterprise that delivers turnkey energy efficiency solutions to businesses and underserved communities. Our customer groups include commercial and industrial businesses, Indigenous populations, newcomers to Canada, seniors, and those who live in energy poverty. We are part of the front lines for reducing energy consumption in Canada. We are not policy specialists. We're not lobbyists. We're not economists. We are building scientists, marketers, engineers, software developers, construction specialists, and project managers who are innovating the implementation of energy efficiency projects every single day. We have grown from 4 employees in 2012 to over 60 people across BC and Alberta today. In the 30-plus years our family has been working in energy efficiency, we've experienced the ups and downs of the industry. Today, approximately half of our business comes from the private sector and utilities, and the other half comes from funding at all levels of government, including some First Nation governments. Having worked with both public and private sector stakeholders, we're in a unique position to bridge the learnings between the innovations required to stay relevant in the commercial market and the patience required for public funding that can seem to come and go without warning or communication of rationale. A reality that has been detrimental to Canadian energy efficiency businesses and their ability to invest and plan for the future. We'd like to share with you our experience with public funding of energy efficiency and highlight Empower Me, our landmark equity-based program that combats energy poverty in Western Canada. Over the years, we have honed our programs and services to focus on 2 core principles, which also serve as our recommendations to the committee. Number 1, programs should be implementation and performance focused. And number 2, programs should be inclusive for all Canadians. Implementation and performance focused. If the goal of energy efficiency programs is to reduce energy consumption, the reduced energy consumption should be the verified deliverable. Far too often we see funding that has stringent eligibility criteria limited to activities with no requirement to report actual savings. In addition, funding programs rarely fund both assessments and the implementation of measures required to achieve those savings. Assessments on their own do not reduce energy use. This fragmented approach, which separates the processes between energy assessors, engineers, and contractors, leads to poor results with little accountability for the savings. We need a cohesive approach focused on accountability. The success of our clients and the savings they achieve are a direct result of the innovation that has been created precisely in between the existing siloed funding steps. Our technology spans the traditionally fragmented value chain to move seamlessly from diagnosing energy saving opportunities to scoping solutions, providing installation quotes, business cases, managing the implementation, and verifying the resulted energy savings. By focusing on the goal of delivering meaningful savings for the client from the onset, innovation and accountability maximizes efficacy and drives down costs. In BC First Nation communities, we have seen this approach achieve energy savings of between 30 and 40% on upgraded homes and 10% community-wide reductions year over year with simple paybacks of 4 to 7 years. Sadly, there is no specific funding stream from any federal organization for us to be able to repeat this proven approach with other communities.
Our second principle is to ensure programs are inclusive to all Canadians. In the next 18 years, Stats Canada is projecting 25 to 31% of Canada's total population will be immigrants. In 2016, 1.7 million Canadians identified themselves as Indigenous. Canadian seniors now outnumber children for the first time, and by 2031, about 23% of our population will be seniors. And today, 1.8 million Canadian families struggle with energy poverty, which I will address in detail later. These are not small numbers. Members of each group have specific needs in how and where they access energy efficiency information and programs. Empower Me is Canada's only energy conservation and behavior change program designed specifically for and delivered by members of underserved communities in over 9 languages. The program focuses on 4 often overlooked groups: newcomers to Canada, Indigenous people, seniors, and families struggling in energy poverty. Our experience shows us that members of these communities fail to access the readily available energy efficiency education and programs available to all Canadians. To ensure these Canadians are not left behind, energy efficiency programs need to be designed to address the language, trust, accessibility barriers that these communities face. Our teams have worked with newcomer families living in uncomfortably warm homes with astonishingly high bills, believing they were not allowed to touch that dial on the wall. Many families we work with do not trust authority figures like utilities or governments to help in lowering their bill. And others in this group are often the target of scams and are wary of offers promising savings and other free services. Empower Me breaks through these barriers by finding and hiring key connectors in the community, known as mentors, to deliver information back to their own networks in a trusted and accessible way. Because mentors are well known in their communities, they're invited into sacred community spaces where traditional government and utility messaging just doesn't reach. 6 years since our inception, this approach has led to hiring and training 55 individual mentors across BC and Alberta from underrepresented and underemployed groups, many who have gone on to other meaningful work in our industry. Mentors have worked with over 320,000 community members and reduced emissions by over 13,000 tons of greenhouse gases. To ensure continuity for the communities, Empower Me has made the strategic decision to launch as a standalone program and seek support from a coalition of funders, local and provincial governments, utilities, and private businesses. At present, Empower Me does not receive any federal funding. I'd now like to spend a little bit of time talking about energy poverty, its link to Empower Me, and the impact to Canadians. Households are considered to be energy poor when a disproportionate amount of their income is spent on energy bills. Today, 21%, or more than 1.8 million Canadian families, struggle to pay their bills. This means falling behind on bill payments, utility cutoffs, and tough decisions about whether to keep their families warm or purchase other basic needs. Energy poverty is distinct from poverty. More than 2/3 of families struggling to pay their utility bills would not be considered low income by Stats Canada's LICO measure. One of the easiest ways to reduce energy poverty is to improve the energy efficiency of homes. Higher consumption in energy poor households is driven by inefficient buildings, older appliances, and individual energy use behavior. Residential rebate programs are typically not an option for struggling families, as they require a significant portion of the upgrade costs to be funded upfront. Without providing effective and fully subsidized home upgrades for these families, the cycle of energy poverty and its effects will continue. In the early 90s, when governments began funding solutions to energy poverty, the Empower Me leadership team helped develop one of the first programs in the UK. Since that time, in Canada, all provinces and territories, except for Saskatchewan, have implemented energy poverty programs. However, there is currently no federal approach to addressing this issue. In 2018, Energy Efficiency Alberta supported Empower Me to design, deliver, and build the province's first program to support the 300,000 Albertan families struggling to pay their utility bills. The goal was to maximize energy savings in energy-poor households and build one of the most economical, inclusive, and effective solutions to addressing energy poverty. A great example of innovation required across the value chain to maximize impact.
You're going to have to wrap up very quickly.
I got one more sentence. Our family is proud to have built a business developing innovative solutions that make a real difference to our most vulnerable populations. I hope that our testimony today has illustrated the need for energy efficiency funding to be inclusive for all Canadians and to focus on implementation and performance while providing businesses the space to innovate solutions that align with overarching goals.
Thank you. You would have been right on time if I hadn't interrupted you. So it's my fault.